Like many people, I was saddened to hear about the murder of Nipsey Hussle. Quite honestly, I was not familiar with his work. I was not familiar with his contributions to the community. I wasn't familiar with the documentary he's working on, past gang affiliations, any of that. But as I've learned about his killing and just read and about other people and how they were talking about him, I was just saddened that a man who was trying to do a lot for the community was taken in such a way. And I can't speak to anything about this whole once a Crip, always a Crip, once a gang member, always a gang member, or whether he was killed because of his involvement in a documentary relating to Dr. Sebi. But there are two things that I do want to speak of that I am bothered about. Number one, I'm frustrated by the fact that people are not connecting his murder to the overall problem we have with murders and gun violence in the United States of America. Because quite honestly, the same way that he was murdered happens every day in America. Multiple times throughout the day, to be honest. We see situations where boyfriend, girlfriend in high school have arguments. Boyfriend comes up and shoots the girlfriend. We've seen issues where spouses have had arguments and their shootings. We've seen issues where siblings, children, 10 years old, 9 years old, have shot each other over video games. There is a overall culture and issue of gun violence in this country that needs to be spoken to. But what we're doing is we're minimizing the death of him by saying it was just all about this gang warfare and whether somebody got called a snitch and all this other type of stuff, and people are talking about they were actually in the same gang, and we all know all these investigations are going to come out and reveal these things, but the overall issue is the same. People like to reduce Black death to looking less quote-unquote menial and mindless than other types of murders that are happening in this country, and that's very problematic because it ultimately leads to just us thinking, oh, this is just another Black person slain. This is kind of what happened with Sam Cooke when he was killed back in 65, right? This is like kind of the same thing. He was a superstar at the time. He was killed in a motel, and the LAPD didn't even investigate. They literally were saying things like, this is just another Black man dead. Why are people making a big fuss over this? They didn't really care. And though the LAPD is more involved in this killing because he was trying to do work in ending gang violence, at the end of the day, there are similarities here that just really bother me. But what bothers me the most is that people are sharing video of his murder. This is just terrible. It's out there. Miss London has to see that. His children have to see that. And what makes me wonder now is what's up with the double standard? Because I remember a few years ago when I saw a white female journalist, there was a story about how she got killed. Someone came up and shot her while she was broadcasting live. Everybody was quick to say on the news, we're not going to show this video out of respect to the family. I don't even think you could find that video online now. So why is it that the murder of Nipsey Hussle has to go viral? Why is it that all of these networks, CNN and others, have to show this? Where's the respect for his family? This is very problematic because whether we're talking about him, whether we're talking about Eric Garner, whether we're talking about Laquan McDonald, there's some type of fascination that we have in this country with seeing a Black person get murdered. Choked to death, shot to death. Maybe it ties back to our history of lynching and how many times when people were lynched, their heads were cut off and their heads were put on pikes and paraded throughout different parts of the community so people can receive a warning about what was going to happen. I'm not really sure, but I know that it's extremely problematic, and basically people are turning him into just another hashtag. And he was doing a lot for the community, and again, I don't know if we'll ever get to the real reasons why he was killed, but I feel like he deserves the same amount of respect as we would give other families. And quite honestly, I'm not watching the video because I just feel like it's disrespectful to his family. And we shouldn't have to always want to see a Black man killed to actually believe that it actually happened. Would we do this if there are videos of Tupac and Biggie? Yeah, of course we would. And yes, people do have the video of JFK when he was assassinated, but that's like one video out of many videos as it relates to white people who are caught on camera, but people chose not to air them. And so I feel like he deserves that same amount of respect. I feel like his family deserves that same amount of respect. I hope he continues to rest in peace and rest in power. And we need to do more to just show respect as a culture as it relates to not always resorting to gun violence. And we need to add that into the larger conversation and not just minimize this as something related to gangs, because we don't even know the full extent of what actually happened. But again, we have overall problems of gun violence in America, and we have an overall problem of broadcasting the killings of black people. And you can actually make a YouTube playlist on this, and it's just not right. And I wish the media and those involved in media entities would do a much better job in respecting those who have passed. Peace.